yes, it's our name on it, it's our logo on it, but this is a celebration of something larger. This is a celebration of us. By us, we mean that in the widest definition of those two letters as possible.
How goes it, ladies and gents? Today we have a very special guest. We have Nikko Ramos from Titan, and we're going to be talking about the recent collab that they had with Jordan brand. All right, so Nix, man, this is crazy. The Braun collaboration just a few months ago, and you follow that up with the collab with the GOAT. How'd that happen, man?
Just incredibly blessed. I think that's kind of the attitude that we've always had, whether it was entering the process, finding out about the developments, or whether it was actually releasing it and seeing how people were responding to it. We understand that, this is a special moment for us. We understand it's not every day that brands get opportunities like this, especially in the time, I guess, that goes by in between those opportunities. But we also recognize there's a responsibility there to kind of be the first, not the last. We know that there are a lot of brands out there who, when they're given the opportunity to do something at this scale, that they're gonna knock it out the park. So hopefully this points a few eyes and minds towards the brands and the creatives and the passion for basketball that we have here in the Philippines, and hopefully someone else gets the opportunity really soon.
And to quote our brother Julo, you gotta shoot your shot when you see your shot. Right?
Yeah, I mean it's all you can ask for. All we really wanted was the opportunity to be able to do these things, and when we got it, that's why I'm so proud of the teammates that I'm teammates with, because they allow us to be in that position that we're ready, steady, and confident to knock it down when we're given the opportunity.
I gotta agree with you. You have one of the best teams, if not the best team over here in the Philippines. Let's talk about the shoe for a bit. Well, the two shoes. How did it become a pack?
I think the first step was us kind of stepping forward and saying, yeah, we want to do something with the 23. As the discussions went fairly quickly after that, it was also made clear to us that, hey, if you guys are kind of this representation of this unique passion for basketball that Filipinos have, and if Titan is playing a role in that, if Titan has played a role in that in our 10 years, this should be a larger celebration of that. I think that's really the takeaway that I hope people have from this project. It's not so much as or Jordan brand really likes this brand, which we're very grateful that they do, but it's more so a recognition of our distinct love and passion for basketball. It's a tip of the hat. It's a little bit of a recognition. It's a little bit of a shout out to everyone who has Buhay Basket in them, I guess. And the best way to celebrate that is a combination of the legacy, the history, the heritage of a Jordan Retro, which was a 23, which was what we had our eye on the entire time, and also the celebration of the current and the future. The current game shoe in the Jordan line, and also the future tech that shoe represents, which was the 35. We celebrate retro product as much as we celebrate, current day performance product. You walk into any of our stores, you're going to see an equal celebration of both those themes. And Jordan brand is the ultimate expression of that. And to be able to collab with Jordan and represent both sides of the coin that way, I think was just fitting.
Why the 23 in particular?
Yeah, there is just an internal love affair between our team and the 23 that's gone back for years and years and years. I think a lot of people have kind of caught on to it when we did the launch that, in 2008, 2 years before the first Titan store opened, that was the release of the Jordan 23 Platinum here in the Philippines. So that shoe was extremely special because of how it was constructed. It was the first shoe in Jordan's Considered line. It was one of the first products that was manufactured at that scale, at that level of a spotlight, that had its eye on sustainability, had its eye on premium craftsmanship, but at the same time wanting to make sure that the construction of the shoe was, in my words, had a conscience. And then also the limited manner in which it was released. Only 23 stores in the United States, and then an additional 23 doors all around the world. Those were the only places where you could get that particular shoe and that colorway, and Manila was one of those places. So going back to 08, that was kind of like a big celebration of basketball culture in Manila, and that kind of stuck with our team, with our founders. I mean, if you could imagine, that's 08. That's 2 years before Titan first opened its doors. But in and around that time is when you have the founders of Titan really kind of starting to put together this idea, starting to maybe have this thinking of, all right, this is a store that can exist, should exist. We like to consider it a watershed moment, a catalyst moment for how the sneaker scene is, the sneaker culture is now in Manila. And if you trace it back, if a historian traces it back, a lot of it goes back to that release, that product in 2008, and that was a 23. So given the opportunity, we hadn't seen the 23 in a while. We've obviously felt on the team that it's one of the most slept on, most underrated silhouettes in Jordan's catalog. The symmetry to obviously his jersey number. Everything just lined up for us. We said 23 right from the jump, right from the very first opportunity.
All right, so let's talk about the design for a bit. Are there other Easter eggs that you guys planted on the shoe that not too many people know about?
So when we approached the design process of this, whether it was just us internally as a team, Alan posted this kind of cool photo that I didn't know he took from when we were first planning it. When we first tried to come up with what we wanted the 23 to look like, we kept talking about themes. We kept talking about the spirit of the shoe. We kept talking about what we wanted the shoe to represent. And we actually spoke very, very little in that first day about what the shoe would look like, what colors it would have, the material, the print on it and things like that. Those just very naturally became secondary. And what we eventually wound up with design-wise is obviously something that we're very happy about and we're very proud of. So the core of it is it's really Titan's company colors or brand colors, which is black, red, and white. Anytime you think black, red, and white, I think our generation, we always think of championships. It has this athletic feel to it. Yeah. We think winning, we think championships. The Bulls, I'm sure, have a lot to do with that. It was planting that in our head psychologically. But also it's a nice little tip of the hat to the Aces, to the Milkmen, which obviously Jeff played for and is a legend of, and is a head coach for now. And then later on in Titan's brand, we kind of added a touch of gold as part of the brand colors. But we wanted to take those brand colors but elevate them, whether that was through color shades or materials. Black obviously stays black, but we wanted black to be represented onto the shoe in this really deep, really rich leather material that's we didn't really see on the 23s previously. And then it contrasts here on the collar with a little bit of that softer material that extends into the sock liner. And then red is represented as bright crimson onto the shoe. So it's not your classic team red or varsity red color. And then white on the shoe, obviously there's shades of white, but we wanted to elevate that by using sail which is the color on the TPU layer here. And then obviously the touches of gold. And then everything else is true to the 23. The signature of MJ, the fingerprint outsole, the thumbprint inside of the tongue, which is MJ's thumbprint. Those are all true Jordan 23 elements. You know, there's nice little touches to it, like on the edges of the laces, on the aglets of the laces. You have an engraved Titan logo on one and a Jumpman logo on the other. I think what people have eventually found, now that we're talking about the 23s, is kind of like the SKU code, or the product code that's on there. Obviously Titan PH, Titan in the Philippines. The 3 stars are a nod to our flag. And then, you know, the product code on there. I think at first glance people think, oh, it's the product code of this shoe. You know, which is a little strange. It's like someone getting a tattoo of their own name onto themselves. But this actually isn't the product code of this shoe. And, you know, and anyone who has a shoe who's Googled it has probably found out by now. If you just Google that code, what you're going to see is the Air Jordan 23, one of the OG colorways. It's the South colorway. It's the black one with the DNA print on the side. And when people think 23s, that's usually the colorway that they think of. And that's our nod obviously to the originator of the silhouette. And that's our way of kind of tipping our hat to that shoe and to that colorway. The 35 is actually a nod to late 90s, early 2000s basketball shoes.
Right. Yeah.
Just how it looks. Devontae Graham wore it on an NBA floor, and you know, we loved what we saw. It looks like a hoop shoe. That's the one thing we wanted to do with a 35. We want it to look like a hoop shoe from far away, and then we want you to kind of discover details as you come closer to it. It's a retro treatment onto the most advanced basketball shoe in the market, which is kind of a little bit of a juxtaposition to, you know, this one is obviously a retro. It's from 2008. You know, this is how you treat a retro, you know, ultimate quality, and we believe that's how it's going to be moving forward. But this is obviously premium materials as well. The bright crimson takes more of a spotlight on this shoe. There's a difference in the treatment of the materials here on the collar, and there's this leather that kind of wraps around the heel counter that has you know, the lightning shards. There's a Titan logo that's kind of very understated on there, and then right over here that says Titan PH. There's 3 stars, and there's a product code on there as well, similar to the 23. The product code on this is not the product code of this shoe. If you actually search the product code that's on here, DA2371-100, that's actually the Fragment Jordan 35s, a collab that was released a few months ahead of ours. But we knew that the guys from Fragment were getting their 35s. That's our little tip of the hat to them. You know, I think it goes without saying what they've done and how they've kind of opened the doors for retailers and creatives and brands in Asia, and how we're now being recognized and seen and I guess celebrated around the world. A lot of that is because of brands like Fragment, and you know what they've done. You know, hopefully down the line, what Fragment's been able to do for Titan and for Atmos, and for all these other brands in Asia, hopefully that's something that we can in extension do for another brand in the Philippines.
Awesome, man. But like you mentioned, man, you know, Jumpman doesn't go out handing collabs to whatever brand, right? So you're up there with brands like Fragment, brands like Atmos. How does that feel for you guys over at Titan?
It's something that we take with a large amount of appreciation, obviously, but also one we take with a huge dose of responsibility. You know, like you said, these opportunities don't get handed out to everybody, and when they do get handed to you, we feel like it's our goal to do as much as we can to responsibly be able to pave the way for someone else. You know, this is our turn now. This is our moment now, you know, but with our experiences and with our interactions with other brands and teams of those brands that have been there before, they've always been open book. They've always been super gracious. They've always been super helpful with, you know, giving us advice, giving us tips, you know, helping guide us to what the next step should be. And, you know, that's a sense of responsibility that we have. You know, we want to make sure that we're able to be that way, and really drive the point home that, you know, yes, it's our name on it, it's our logo on it, but this is a celebration of something larger. This is a celebration of us. By us, we mean that in the widest definition of those two letters as possible.
That's awesome, man. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank you guys. Thank Titan for, you know, for leading the way, for, like you mentioned years ago, for shooting that flare up in the air for other creatives like us. And man, I'm looking forward to seeing what else you guys are up to this year and the coming years. And congrats, man.
Thank you. You know, we appreciate it, and yeah, you know, hopefully it's a continued road. Hopefully the road continues to a lot of us. Really, this is as much a win, you know, for you and, you know, your creative team and your brand, what you guys stand for, as much as it is just for the guys who work on the 22nd floor of our building. You know, it's really a celebration of the people who inspire us to keep going. You know, people who dedicated parts of, if not all of, their lives to basketball. You know, it's people and brands like that kind of keep us going. And hopefully we'll be able to notch up a couple more wins as soon as possible.